Okay, I may be 2 years late in reviewing this movie, which is Inception, but I tell you, it's absolute overrated fail of a movie. And I'm not giving a complaint about this movie because I'm a Christian. I'm giving it because I'm reviewing it as a normal, civil-minded person who is not used to having things thrown at my face. And I don't care if it has an 8.8 out of 10 on IMDb, I'm not even refuting that dreams occur. Of course they do. But there's no point to be going crazy about them. Dreams happen. It's a gift. I'd even point out that they'd have a different purpose. But this whole distraction of a movie that tries to ruin and confuse us of what it is. I've never, I repeat, never have had a dream in a dream in a dream in a dream, blah blah blah. I think that's completely unlikely and illogical, no matter how much they stress it. See, I believe dreams were originally designed to carry a special message from God. To premonitions about the future is highly popular. It's déjà vu, where you have a dream, then a few weeks later or so later, you see the exact scene you saw in your dream before. I get that a lot. I dare say if your bond with Christ is really strong, he can always give a dream of prophecy and revelation. For sake of arguments, dreams only last from about 20 to 40 minutes, not to 3 or 4 hours as the movie puts it, but most of the people dream about things that they think about a lot. What happened to them during the day, something that they've nearly forgotten about, or something that jumbles a whole bunch of stuff that they've seen before into one dream. Sometimes I've had dreams that seem to continue from the part where they've stopped, from the part where they left off. Just to say, I don't intend to offend the possible millions of fans and their fantasies from just blatantly adoring this movie. And I don't want people to just comment before watching, or just turn this video off before watching to the end because I'm a creationist, or because I'm a Christian, or that I'm here to ruin people's fun. No, I'm just putting forth logical statements centered around reason and thinking. In English, I'm talking about how this movie showed itself to me. Plus, I think people should really look the word fun up in the dictionary. Even they say, oh, what are you talking about? This movie was awesome. Hey, I know a lot of movies that have been more awesome than this. But hey, I believe Christopher Nolan's a pretty cool director, always making long, big movies, and maybe that he's pretty overrated. But no doubt did his directing career status fall to an all-time low, in my opinion, when it came to this confusing, mind-aching cinematic circus show where every character makes us want to be annoyed at them, and the story just makes us want to really question what the heck is going on. I particularly like Nolan's Batman work a lot. I don't think he does good with anything that's non-Batman related. He might as well just stick with Batman. And seriously, Chris, I want to see another Batman movie. You can't build up a lot of end to the last Batman movie and just stop. I'm sorry, but you can't do that. I have to admit, the effects are cool in this movie, but the characters and the story are not cool. It's one of those losing old dignity movies. DiCaprio is a good actor, but I gotta say, he should have only acted in his child years. He's still got the boyish face, but now being older, it doesn't look right on him. He might as well have finished acting only until Titanic. The beard and mustache doesn't even look the least convincing on him, and doesn't even make him look like a dad age. As well as the fact he seems to act like a know-it-all schmuck, combing his hair and acting rather antisocial and oversensitive with a bad attitude, right out of the blue at times. Like he's looking desperately to go unstably crazy about something. Even extremely disappointing is how he blasphemes the Lord's name a lot, because he should be thinking about all the wonderful things like life, breath, and everything he has in his life, than just blatantly and easily dragging his name through the dirt. So much so that's just a horrible habit of his. Seriously, people like that have got to get their head examined. But I forgive the guy, no shame. This guy's got to choose better movies. Plus, I don't even know why he works with Scorsese a lot. He seems to keep wanting him to make himself look bad in his movies. Just to say, I first knew about Scorsese when he voiced a character in the animated movie Shark Tale. The only film he really made that I seriously like was Hugo, because it's really like his first movie that comes out as a wonderful and creative historical film that gets your imagination and yearn for creative things going. And it doesn't try to entertain you with cursing, cussing, swearing, bad attitudes, violence, rudeness, mind-aching, corrupt plot inconsistencies, or scenes that just don't make sense or just annoy the berserk out of you. But back to DiCaprio, This guy's acting career is so bad I feel like I need to talk with the guy. There have been countless other times where I've really needed to talk to dozens of other celebrities that really seem as if they don't know what they're doing. With the characters, there's problems too with the other characters. I dare say the only character in this movie I like is Michael Caine. He does really well in other movies, but I dare say that the girl in this movie, Ellen Page, lost all dignity from me. Even with this being the first movie I saw her in. She took part in the making a big deal game about dreams. I can imagine how many people thought it humorous hiring her for the role, after many people saw her in the movie Juno. Not a bad movie, seemingly as though it wanted to look pro-life, but even the actors in that movie have got to be talked to as well. Particularly Michael Cera. Now Ellen Page may be really pretty, but it's quite a pompous prettiness to me, like it's the only thing she relies on, and her personality inside is not at all pretty. You see, you really gotta concentrate on a person's beauty on the inside more than just the outside. More people ought to take that cautious step. But Paige seems to represent the everyday schoolgirl that's undoubtedly brainwashed about history and philosophy. She even curses God's name as well in this movie. I feel like saying, girl, don't you hear yourself? You're cursing the only religious figure who sacrificed and resurrected himself for the salvation of mankind. And he is not an Egyptian religious ripoff, and there is evidence for his existence back then, and there is evidence for his existence now. Plus, she just willingly teams with all these grown men she hardly knows? Kinda creepy. Whatever happened to don't talk to or go anywhere with strangers? Are we young people really supposed to identify with this girl? Fail. Absolute fail. Or even the guy Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I loved him in the movie Angels in the Outfield, which I think is pretty underrated and deserves a lot more attention. But a boy in the movie that seems to foreshadow people like Tim Tebow, who is a true Christian, by the way, and now comes across as a full-grown adult who gets so oversensitive about dreams and blasphemes God's name too. Great Wall of China. But I could go for a whole hour about the characters in this movie and how they just act like foreign aliens from another planet. But I'll just stop now. But in Inception, there's too many scenes in this movie that just don't make sense. The director just seems to go from one idea to the next. Anything remotely interesting is either referenced to or completely lost over. This whole thing seems as a big unorganized mess that is supposed to be whirling around a father and his children. Why not just take the plane and go back? It's not that hard. You don't need dreams to do that. And they make the dead wife look like a killer in all the dreams when she's already dead? I don't get that. Even she is annoying, the actress who plays her. And I am going so far as to committing suicide because she doesn't know whether she is dreaming or not? Come on. Dreams are not something to make too much of a big deal of. And complete strangers that are invited into the dream mission like all of a sudden know how to work with it or suddenly experienced with this. Without any particular instruction or directions. They can just do it out of the blue, these random things with a dream. You can't do that, movie. It just doesn't make sense. And likely the element of not making sense is from Nolan's influence of the director Stanley Kubrick, whose movies are really over-the-top, inappropriate, and don't make sense. But on the topic, you may argue it's because that's what a dream does, but nope. They just don't get things right in this movie, no matter how cool the effects that they're blended in with really are. And seriously, people talk way too much in this movie. Literally not any bit of dialogue makes sense. It seems like they just chose sophisticated hard words to put in as much as they could to make it look like a smart movie. And like seriously, a movie where people are oversensitive and dramatic and overtly serious about dreams? Can't you do any better than that? I'll even comment on something I heard from someone else, that at the end when the top is spinning and it's not even shown that it stops, just like the whole shot blocks out to the credits. One person jumped up in the theater and shouted, "That was bull..." No surprises there. The movie shot itself in the foot. That's what it did. Now, I like the composer Hans Zimmer. I love his work. Now, that's my honest review of this movie, coming from a completely normal person. And I don't even want one coming from any vulgar language, bad language. And if there's one of you trying to defend this movie, you can't do that. Honestly, just think for yourself.